You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic bootcamp, Moveville University, Pure Chiro Notes, Dr. Alok Trivedi, the Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Vita Chiropractic, the Universal Traction System, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, and Imaging Services. Let's hustle. Hey guys, good morning. Where you're at, it's good evening. And I know that you guys have been anticipating hearing some international flavor on the Chiro Hustle live stream. And I just wanted to say I am coming in from the Grand Valley of Grand Junction. If you've ever been to Colorado, we're to the other side of the state where no one lives. There's about 60,000 people here. And I chose this place to be because, do you know why I chose that, Loula?
No, why?
I wanted to hear the birds chirp. So I wanted some more natural ambiance in my life, and I wanted things to be easier, and I didn't want to live in traffic. And you are in Halkida, Greece?
Yes, that's where I live. Yes, and practice in Halkida, Greece. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you can also hear the birds there if you want. If you want to come visit.
But before that, I was living in Chicago, and I was living in Denver. So I was living in these big metropolis cities where you could see like beauty around you, but you were definitely landlocked by, the concrete jungle.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Loula, I'm just going to attempt your last name. It's Papadimitriou.
Papadimitriou, yes.
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
It's a big win. So we're winning over here with the Chiro Hustle live stream. I'm getting my syntax right with my conversation points and saying the things the right way. So welcome to the show.
Welcome to everybody.
What time is it over there?
It is 5:20 in Spain now.
5:20 p.m.
In Spain. Yeah, 5:20 p.m.
And it's 9:20 a.m. over here in Colorado. So we're still in the same day. That's pretty cool. But you're just you're going to see the sunset soon, and I just woke up to the sunrise.
Yeah.
So let's talk all things chiropractic today. Let's really focus in on your life and your journey, and let's talk a little bit about chiropractic in Europe. I know that you're one chiropractor in an area where there's not a whole lot of chiropractors, and let's just talk about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the whole country of Greece, maybe there are like 30 chiropractors. And where I live, there are none. And the whole island where I live, there are none. It's a very, very big population. And it's funny because a lot of my patients say, you're lucky, you have no competition. But I say, I wish there were more chiropractors here because I cannot serve anybody, even if I wanted to, like physically impossible. So it's interesting. It's very interesting for them to hear that I wish there were more chiropractors. But yeah, I can be lonely sometimes. Big burden.
So you live the truth. Every chiropractor lives on an island, and you have your own.
Yeah. Yes. My own chiropractic island. Yeah.
That's an analogy we oftentimes give to chiropractors as they finish school, and then they, have their clinic, and their clinic becomes their own island. They have to learn how to hunt, they have to learn how to fish, they have to learn how to garden, and that's their own little private island, which is their clinic. Okay. And then they have to survive on that island alone. But that's not true, right?
Then it's no, in a way. I mean, it's not that it seems hard as you explain it that way. And it is, but, if you keep grounded and have your vision clear and know who you are and what you're doing, then it's all in the process. And you have fun in the way. So it's not that bad living in an island and just fishing and hearing the birds.
No, it's a good quality of life, I'm sure. Yeah. And let's just talk about, you went to AECC, which is Anglo-European Chiropractic College in Bournemouth. And then let's just talk a little bit about that experience.
Well, I kind of feel that I went not even knowing what chiropractic was. I wasn't adjusted before. I don't have like a chiropractic miracle story. Neither does one of my family members. I studied, my first degree was in physiotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard about chiropractic and osteopathy just to like continue my studies. And I visited a chiropractor at the time, and I just liked what I saw. I didn't really know much about it. And at the time, England was it looked at my eyes as the only option. And Bournemouth, who is much nicer city than Wales, than the WEOC, the other institution. So that was basically my criteria.
You want
the city by the sea.
You want a little bit of sunshine.
Yeah.
It's to be expected.
Yeah. So I went to AECC, not knowing what chiropractic was and not having any idea about chiropractic philosophy. I remember hearing people talk about the S word, and I didn't even know what that meant. Like, what is this forbidden word we cannot speak about? But it served its purpose. AECC.
So this magical S word is what?
Subluxation.
Yeah, and I think that the some people are fearful of telling the truth of chiropractic, and knowing the history and knowing the philosophy and knowing that there's a science that's attached to it. They just know it as a word that gets people out of pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we were taught that it is a historical concept. Like they still do, I think, in many schools, but that it's a historical concept.
So why do you think that, I don't want to get too political on the talk with you today, but why do you think that the institutions have moved towards this idea of kind of categorizing the word subluxation and the idea of innate intelligence to some type of historical context?
Well, not getting too deep in political, as you said, but I think from my understanding, and even between practitioners or institutions, why they go towards that way is, I guess, maybe a fear of standing out and owning your truth, trying to be one with the mainstream, trying to get approved by who they think are superiors or authorities. But
honestly, aren't there enough physiotherapy schools out there? Aren't there enough MD schools out there? Why do we have to then attribute chiropractic to these same philosophical standards of these other medical practices?
Yeah.
It just doesn't add up to me. If we're going to be chiropractic, why does chiropractic have to pretend? Because there's no pretending in the adjustment. You deliver the adjustment, you turn the lights on, the body heals.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I think that the chiropractic institutions have become a little lost in their philosophy and how they look at the future of the profession. A lot of times I ask in my interviews, where do you see the chiropractic profession in 5 years with you in it? Maybe you can answer that. Where do you see the chiropractic profession in 5 years with you in it?
Better than where it is right now. And I know that I will do my best to actually, for it to be in a better place. Whether that's starting in my community or my country or playing a role in Europe, but it is our duty, I think. You cannot just leave it. And coming from a background in physiotherapy and going through the whole process of, because I was in that mentality, going through that whole process, it's just that I didn't know better, and I had to continuously push forward and get uncomfortable to find out the truth.
So let's talk a little bit about your truth and how you developed that. I know that you're a knee, chest, upper cervical specific chiropractor. Let's talk a little bit about how you find the technique that you wanted to practice to serve your community.
I found it, but I also feel that it found me, because it's one of those things, same thing with chiropractic, that I just kept on digging. I just kept on asking questions. I was very fortunate with my first job as an associate. with Greg Upperton, and he practices that way. And he was the first one that got me into it. And then I started training with various instructors and different programs. So up until I went on my first outreach program doing this work, which was in El Salvador with the Art of the Specific. I had one of those profound aha moments where just everything kind of glued together. And I felt like a very strong passion that this is kind of like my calling, or this is what I say, like my primary function, this work. And after that, it just kept continuing and continuing.
So I guess the next question that now that we know what you like to do and how you take care of people and how you kind of found yourself into that technique, or it found you, let's talk a little bit about what chiropractic means to you. I know that early on I give everybody a questionnaire to fill out, and one of the questions you had asked me to ask you is, what is chiropractic? Is it health? And how would you share your insight on that with our audience today?
Well, I think as with all terms within chiropractic, it's very, very important to define our terms. So say health, really, the chiropractic, for example, textbook or Stevenson, the 33 principles, which are the main core of chiropractic, they say nothing about health. Or there's even not the word health mentioned in the green books. So defining our terms, for me, for example, health is living a life with no nerve interference. And it kind of is a paradox in a way, like two conflicting ideas, that somebody can be expressing life without interference and innate intelligence. But according to somebody else, they might be sick or not healthy. So in the broad term, yes, but specifically, I think it's very important to understand what we mean about health, because somebody that is not subluxated is healthy in my terms. And somebody that is subluxated is not, in a way. And it depends also who you talk to, because that's why it's important, our language and how we use our language and our terms. So we're always like on the same page with the other person.
Yeah, I think it's highly important to make sure our languaging is specific, and just like the art of the specific, making sure that you're doing the proper type of care to the cervical spine. I think that can unlock the subluxation that can set people free. And people don't really understand. They think that chiropractic is for slip and fall, which it is. They think it's for because that can cause a subluxation. They think it's for auto accidents, and it is, because that can cause massive subluxations. And we've kind of branded it as you have to have an injury type of condition for you to get chiropractic care. Now, what about the idea of a healthy person coming in? Could they still be subluxated if they think that they're healthy?
Yeah, of course they can. Of course they can. And that you see that during care, that asymptomatic people can totally be not chiropractic healthy, as in, how we measure their adaptability and say, I use thermography, so how their scans are. They can be very unhealthy in that way, but they feel great. And other people with whatever kind of label or disease or accident, traumas, they can respond very well to care and be healing and restoring. So they are in a way more healthy.
Yeah, and I honestly don't think that people have to have any type of health concern. I don't think that people have to have any type of, really like, I have pain here. I don't think that that's like the need for a chiropractic adjustment, but that's what we've been led to believe by branding and marketing from the medical modeled chiropractic system. And I think that that's what the chiropractors become kind of pinholed into, to say that you guys do it this way and this is what you do it for. If you don't do it for that reason, then it's not it's not necessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
They
but
even
when
go.
you,
Sorry, but they even go to the point of saying that's not ethical. But then again, who are you to say, because you don't know what I'm doing and why I'm doing, what am I looking for example. So yeah, it can be
well,
tricky.
that's just like when D.D. Palmer founded the profession on tone, and he founded the profession on the subluxation, and he founded the profession on nerve interference and clearing out the nerve interference and letting the body act naturally to where it's supposed to be without any type of impingement going on in the nervous system, allowing the body to flow freely. When I meet people in public, I tell them, it's kind of like taking a river that has been dammed up for so long that doesn't have its natural course. And then you take the dam away, and then you see the river go back to rapids. You see the river go back to having its like basins on the side, and it's little mangroves, and the shorebirds come back, and the small fish come back to the shore, and certain things start to come back to the natural state. And I explained to people about that. Like, if you took the dam away from natural rivers, we wouldn't be doing electric generation, but we do giving the earth back its natural course, which that's what a subluxation, once it gets removed, the body goes back to its natural course.
Yeah, exactly. And that reminded me what you said of Bill Deckin's chapter in David Serio's book, 33. And it was exactly that same example with the river. The water, both can have water flowing, but one is vibrant and fresh, and animals are there, and the other one is just like a swamp. But that's that there you can see the expression.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic bootcamp, Moveville University, Pure Chiro Notes, Dr. Alok Trivedi, the Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Vita Chiropractic, the Universal Traction System, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, and Imaging Services. Let's hustle. Yeah, and you know that there's water in there, and you know that there's life in that person.
Yeah.
But is that person vibrant? And is that person full of life? In the
exactly.
same way for the streams in the river, is that person vibrant inside of that ecosystem? We can look at the body as the ecosystem, and if we dam ourselves up with subluxation, then the body doesn't heal naturally, and then it doesn't function the way it's supposed to. And then so many times, Loula, that manifests into something that we all know so well is pain.
Yeah.
And then we're like, somebody save me, anything.
Yeah.
And then you get that person saying, I didn't believe in chiropractic yesterday, but damn, you just adjusted me. I believe in it today. And then you have to tell them that chiropractic isn't a belief system.
Yeah, exactly.
Chiropractic, you drop the keys and you say and chiropractic, just like gravity, it works whether you believe it or not. It's not a belief system.
Exactly. And it's funny because I get that question from my patients. Like, do I have to believe in it? And I think, I don't remember really where I've heard this from, but this is from a talk or something. And they would say, when somebody would say, oh, I don't believe in chiropractic, your answer should be, I don't believe in it too. Because it's not the religion, or you don't have to believe in it to work. It just does. So, yeah.
And, you go through schooling to get your undergrad degree, which usually takes about 3 to 4 years. And then you go into chiropractic program to get your doctorate degree and become a doctor of chiropractic. That's why so many people have DC after their name. If so many people don't know that, but that is a very profound degree to establish yourself in. And sometimes that DC becomes a joke to other medical providers as to who are they and what are they doing and why are they doing it the way they do. But everybody knows for the past 122 years that chiropractors done by hand get people to the point of letting their body remove that subluxation to the point of healing. And so many times people don't understand that how powerful the DC after the name actually makes a human being, and to actually become something that is novel, unique, and non-obvious when it comes to the rest of the medical model. I think that that's why it's so hard for people to accept that you're healing people with intelligence and with hands.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I'm not healing them. They are healing themselves. I'm just a facilitator. Yeah.
You remove the interference and allow the body to go where it's supposed to, but you're also using the top level science. You're using an exam, you're using the x-ray, you're using the thermography, you're actually testing the body and showing people an objective measure that your body is actually in a state of repair. And before you looked like this, now you look like this. Can we say that chiropractic adjustment works? Can we say that your body is now in a better state than what it was when you first came to me? I think that's the paradigm shift, is now we have objective measures to show people that the body is actually in a state of change, and it's going back to where a person wants it to be instead of declining.
Yeah, exactly. People really love that. Like I hear a lot, maybe because there are not that many chiropractors where I am or back home. They don't know what chiropractic is, and when I explain or tell them, or when they experience themselves, they say like exactly that I thought something like this existed, or I knew there must have been something like this, but I didn't know what it was, or what's it called. So it's very interesting.
Just like your truth, you didn't know what chiropractic was until you got into the program and got your first adjustment. You thought that, the world was revolving around this medical model that actually made people more sick. And I think that that's what most people think, is they have to develop some type of a sick life, and they have to develop some type of like a badge of honor of I've got this and I have to fight this off. And instead of saying I found myself a natural remedy for whatever might be ailing me. And, my good friend, my boyhood friend, I've been friends with him the longest out of any friend on my life. He's on the live feed right now. His name is Troy Weston. And
I
think it's really empowering that he gets a chance to hear me talk, fanatically about this big idea of chiropractic, and how, we're stretched across the country now. I mean, the world. You're over in Spain. I'm over here in Colorado, but yet we still talk the same philosophy, the same idea about what chiropractic is and what it isn't. And I think that the more that we have these conversations, the more that people are going to wake up and say, I thought it was just about my pain.
Yeah. That's why it's super important to do these things, or to talk to get it out there, get the message across.
So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's go back to Loula, the chiropractor. I know that you went on kind of a hero's journey. You did some mission work in El Salvador. You traveled through the United States. Was it 6 months, trying to find out a little bit about who you were and develop your identity? And let's talk a little bit about that journey and why you took that time for yourself.
Well, after Spain, I had decided that I was going to open my own office, doing the work that I do now. And I was thought, because there are not that many of us within the chiropractic profession, that work this way. So I thought it was very important to go and see other offices and how they operate. Also do some more training and just get that time necessary before opening your own practice of having everything ready and visualizing everything and just knowing everything from the brand of the office and your service. It's very important to be, I find it very important to be grounded, so you don't then get misdirected from others' opinions when you're trying to do your own thing. So and that time I did the last outreach program, my last outreach program too, which is very a very, very important and unique thing for me.
I think it's quite impressive when somebody already becomes the doctor and then they say, I still have further to go. I still have to find out what my real purpose is. And I think that everybody that's watching this, whatever course of action you're on at life, in your hero's journey and in your life path, that you should take time to find you, and you should take time to find out why your heart beats and why your brain thinks and why you smile and all these things, and why things that you enjoy, why you love it. And I think that that's a really a soul-searching quest. And I think everybody should allow themselves that point. Even if they've gone through, like I said, 7 years of education, they should still take time to themselves to discover what life really is to them before they go out there and dedicate themselves to a career.
Yeah, exactly. And it's never really ending, because I think you can always, advance and always be better, and always find how to more truly express yourself and your gifts to the community, to the people you're serving.
But Loula, even talking non-chiropractic, anybody with any walk of life, with any career path and any type of like harmony within themselves, they should know thyself before they decide that they're going to go out there and dedicate the next 30 years of their life to just drudgery and 1 weekend of vacation a year, 2 weekends of vacation a year, and think that that's life. Yeah. And I think that people should all take some time to, what you guys over in Europe call them holidays, we call them vacations. But I think everybody should take time to have a holiday or a vacation in their life to where they can reset themselves and they can really know their life purpose before they dedicate themselves to, whether it's cooking in a kitchen, whether it's driving an Uber, whatever the course of life might be. You should definitely know who you are before you decide to dedicate yourself to other people's lives.
Yeah, for sure. It's very important.
And I know that while you did that, you came up with some truths for yourself. You came up with some ideas that made you more clear on what you wanted. And one of those was the idea of your strengths. And let's talk a little bit about how you've kind of come up with your own formula of these strength ideas. And you say you also have some value ideas. So let's talk. You can mix them up, but let's just talk about why it's important to have strengths and values into becoming who you are.
Well, the strengths, I did the strength test, and because the whole idea behind it is not to focus on your where you're lacking. So especially when starting a business, we can say, oh, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. And I try and correct that, but really you can just focusing on your strengths, things are better in a way. And then you can realize yourself in a better way, what we were talking about, and play on that, because that will be your more natural state, and people, I think, will be attracted to that. So knowing my strengths has really helped me into understanding me, obviously, but also the way I interact with my patients, with my friends, my family, everyone, really. Yeah. And then the values, I think, are super important because they keep you grounded, and they keep you in the direction that you want to go, and living your truth, so that every day, every day, it's not really a hustle, but long term, it is, because of the bigness, really, of our work. So does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think having strengths and values are things that go back to that core of who we are. And you have to know thyself in order to be able to make a huge impact. And once you find the chiropractic philosophy and you're a chiropractor, that's the major premise. And once you understand the adjusting technique as a chiropractor, that is one of the stools. That's one of the legs of the stool. And then when you know the science behind why you do what you do, then that gives you like all the confidence in the world. And even as chiropractors, I found after going through school the way they have, they still lack one integral thing, and that's self-esteem. And once you understand who you are And once you understand your technique and once you understand the science and the philosophy, then you start to understand why it is that you're doing what you're doing. And then you have your toolkit to go deliver everything that you've ever hoped and dreamed to do. And then you're complete. But I think that so many times people go out there and they start practicing and they don't know who they really are. And the reason that we don't call it perfecting is because you're still in practice. Even after 3 decades, you're still practicing and you're not perfecting. And I think that that's the thing is people think that when they get out that they're perfecting and they're not practicing. And I think that when we think about life on those terms of we're always in practice, we're never perfecting.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and we can always make perfect practice, but
Yeah.
but there's that languaging again is
Yeah.
that the reason that every chiropractor says I am in practice is because they're practicing and they're taking care of people. And I
Yeah.
think that that's the big idea around the chiropractic world is we have to start understanding every element and the why in chiropractic, which
And
Tom
Johnny, yeah.
Dirks and Johnny are coming out with is
Yeah.
the chiropractic why. And
Exactly.
I think that that's philosophically based. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? The chiropractic why?
Yeah, I'm super excited for both of them. I mean, they're two of my very close friends, and I'm super proud of them. And I think this whole journey, and they are working like extremely hard to produce the content. I don't know if they have their date release ready yet, but it should be soon. And it's something like I was there in the discussions when we were just talking about it, that there is nothing like this. And there is a big need because all of us are graduates from the ACC. So we definitely know about the need the students have and other practice and people in practice, of course. But yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I mean, already they're getting out the content and doing things, but yeah, I really can't wait. It will be very unique and very good, especially here, well, everywhere. But here in Europe, I think generally chiropractic and chiropractic philosophy is growing and the interest is growing. So that makes me super happy, actually.
I
Yeah.
just saw that your sister just gave you some love on the feed. And yeah, I think that the whole concept of giving people something that's easily digestible that teaches them the proper ideas to where they don't have to go searching anymore to where it's laid out for you is brilliant. And I
Yeah.
think that as long as we have a trusted resource that's providing that information, like Tom and
Yeah.
Johnny, I think that we now have a unified group of people that are going to start training the mind differently because what they've
Exactly.
done is they went out and seeked out the information
Yeah.
that they thought that would give people a more full understanding of the philosophy and of the science and of the art. And I think that when you combine all those things together, the triune of life, then we start talking about a whole different quality of understanding. And
Yeah.
the cool thing is if any of you guys are out there that are watching, Tom and Johnny are going to give me all of the modules to watch. So I get a chance to have
Oh,
eyes on this whole project. I told them I'm going to go through the
sweet.
whole training in like 48 to 72 hours and then give them a
Wow.
full report on if something needs a little bit of a change or how I appreciate the hard work that they put out.
Wow. Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think it's very important to note that both of them are ACP graduates. So that makes them even, I think, more trusted maybe to the people that are, on the sideline or don't know about them. But I think the ACP now in Europe, which this year I'm also taking, is very, very important. And there's a very big interest and need for it. So I think the boys will do fantastic.
So maybe clear up for me because I'm not familiar. The
Ah,
ACP, what does that stand for? There, I get acronym to death with chiropractic. So what is ACP?
ACP is the Academy of Chiropractic Philosophers, run
Okay.
by Sherman College
Okay.
as a program. Yeah.
So there you have it. I obviously don't know everything, and I'm humble enough to be transparent to say my authentic Jim Chester does not know what this means. And we don't know everything until we ask. So now I
Yeah,
have more
exactly.
clarity. So thank you for
Exactly.
clarifying that for me.
No.
So at this point in the interview, I ask everyone, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
No, not really. I just really want to make it clear, kind of like what we talked about, that each individual has their own journey, and it's very important to stick on your route, find your tribe that will help you along the way, and just keep on digging and asking questions, and for them to be true to you. I think that's what's very important.
And I appreciate you spending some time with us and our audience and sharing authentically your message of who you are and how you become this amazing chiropractor over there in Al-Qaeda. Maybe I did say that right, didn't I? Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda, dang. I tried.
You got your last name correct. That's okay.
I tried. But, thank you for sharing your information and everything that you do for the chiropractic world. And if you guys didn't know that this is International Women's Day, so we have an international woman on with us today. And this episode is brought to us by Barbara Eaton and her 56-day chiropractic boot camp. Her systems and strategies are proven to double, triple, quadruple people's chiropractic businesses and teach them how to actually turn themselves from the Peace Corps mindset of going out there and taking care of people to giving them the strategies to be successful and actually having a business that can make them the quality of life that they want. And with that being said, Ethan Danberg says Chiro Hustle Life hashtag, and I agree. Just out there, everybody that was with us today, love and appreciate you, and just keep Chiro hustling and keep on sharing your story and sharing your truth with our audience out there. And have a good night over there, okay?
Thank you, Jim. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Bye-bye.
Right. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.